Hello, artsy doodlers. I am so excited to do a little science and art experiment with you. So what we are going to do is test gravity a little bit while we create a masterpiece. So we're going to do a little galaxy painting. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and paint your canvas all black. Do you see how I've painted my canvas here all black? And then what I want you to look at next is get a paper towel or a napkin and crinkle it up in your hand, just like this. Just take it and crinkle it up in your hand, and we're going to use it sort of like a sponge. So see how it has all this texture in it? We're going to create our galaxy using this crinkled up paper towel. So that'll be one of the tools. So what we'll start with first, I'm going to go ahead and get some of my blue paint. And I'm just going to dip my paper towel into the blue paint. So I have a little bit of blue paint there. And then I'm just going to start creating different like starbursts and getting a little crazy. I'm going to make my galaxy sort of go all the way down here. Dip again when you need to reload. Shouldn't be too drippy. I think I'll make my blue wave of my galaxy here. Now we also can add some purple in. That will be fun. So I'm going to get my purple paint. And I'm just going to fold over my napkin so that I can get to another area. Dip it in the purple. And I'm going to do the same thing. I might even go over top of the blue a little bit, you know? Maybe I'll put some different starbursts up in here. The galaxy is made of lots of gases, right? So there can be all kinds of colors and stars. Now, if ever you get too much of one color in an area, you know, you could always dip in black and reapply some black over top of it. So there's no way to mess up doing a galaxy project. Just have fun with it. So I'm getting a little bit more in here. I'm going to leave some of my background black. You know how when you look up in the night sky and you see clusters of stars, you still see some dark sky. That's what I'm having fun with today. I love it. And these happen to be two of my favorite colors. So you add these to anything. All I need is a little glitter and I'm going to be super happy, huh? Very good. Now I'm going to get out some white paint. And we're going to do a little gravity test. So you will need a spoon, or you could use a brush, a paintbrush, anything to, or you can even just pour a little tiny drop of white paint on our canvas. Now, if you pick up your canvas and you tilt it, watch how the paint is going to drip in crazy directions, right? Maybe this will be like a planet. Now another thing you can do is get a straw and you can blow on these bursts of paint and push the paint out. I'll demonstrate that too. So now I'm going to take a straw and I'm just going to blow on my big puddle of paint. And you can even add a little bit of water onto your paint. and have it blow in different directions. Now, have you ever done any splatter painting before? Well, you can take a paintbrush, and I always dip my paintbrush in some water first, and then you can just flick it onto the background to make billions and billions of stars. And you can use a big paintbrush, a small paintbrush, whatever you have. I think I'm gonna do another experiment with it, with a drip. I'm gonna put a drip here, or a spot of paint here, but I'm gonna dip my paintbrush in some water and add a little bit of water into that white. And that way, this time when I tip my canvas, it's gonna run. And now I'll tip it this way in lots of different directions. Pretty cool. Added a little more wet paint to it, watered down paint, and let it drip. Ooh, it looks like a burst. Maybe I'll put a little bit more over here. And there's some gravity paint there too. I think I'm gonna splatter. I just have a lot of blue down through here. So I think I'll take my paintbrush, dip it in some water, dip it in some blue paint, and splatter some blue. Look at that. And you could do any colors you have. If you have other colors of paint available, you can add different splatters of all colors. Pink would look really cool on this. And remember, you can always put in some more black if you get a little too much color in. You could splatter some black over. Ooh, look at how the black looks on top of that white. Looks really cool. And I think I'm gonna I'm gonna wet my paintbrush, dip it in some purple, and I think I'm gonna create one of those runs again right here with some purple. I'll let the gravity do the painting, huh? I'll just tip it and let it drip down. Whoa. And I'll repeat the same thing, but I'm gonna do that with some blue this time. Remember, all you got to do is dip your brush in some water and put a little extra water on that puddle of paint and let it drip. If it doesn't drip, it's not wet enough. Sometimes paint can be thicker, and it doesn't want to run enough. Ooh, I might even let it run right over my white. Look at how it followed that same path. Isn't that cool? Being an artist is so fun. I think I'll put a little blue drop down here. And I'm gonna tilt it this way and tilt it that way. Get myself a crazy run, huh? I love it. Now I'm still gonna go back to my straw a little. really pushes the paint around, doesn't it? And if it doesn't want to push around a lot, you can always put a little drop of water on, right? Ooh, I did a little blue drop there. That looks cool. Very fun. And you're certainly welcome to add some glitter in there and have it sparkle a little bit. That would be very, very pretty. I have some blue glitter here. I think I'll add a little glitter onto mine. Ah, never too much glitter, huh? Just dump it off. Looky there. And there's my gravity galaxy painting. Yay! I hope you have so much fun making your galaxy painting with Artsy Doodle. And I can't wait to do another project with you soon. Bye! Hello, Artsy Doodlers! Welcome back to another art and science session. We are going to do some bubble art. I think you're gonna love it. So what we're gonna start with first is a little cup of water. You see, I don't have much water in there. You could use a coffee cup, any kind of cup, but you just need a little bit of water in the bottom. And then you need your piece of paper. Watercolor paper is what we're gonna use today. And I'm gonna pour in a little bit of my friend Dawn dish soap, just a little bit of Dawn dish soap. And I'm gonna start with this beautiful turquoise. So I'm just pouring some paint in mine, but you could use food coloring, you could use paint, anything that would add color to it. And you're gonna need your straw. I'm gonna actually use my straw to stir those two things together. I think I'll add a little bit more water in. There we go. All right, you definitely don't want to fill it all the way to the top of the cup because we need to leave room for bubbles to form. So now what we're going to do is we're gonna take our straw. Don't drink this, so you don't want to suck in the water. We're going to blow out. So I always think of it like when I was little, I used to love to blow chocolate milk because it made the coolest bubbles. I don't know why, but that's what I'm going to try to do is create bubbles, you know, to go in this liquid. So I'm going to blow out, not suck in. Now, do you see how it's forming bubbles in like a cone, right? Looks like ice cream. Keep going. And I'm just gonna let my straw sit right there. And if I don't touch those bubbles, they'll stay there for a minute. I'm gonna pick up my piece of watercolor paper and then I'm gonna touch the paper with, and look at those bubbles. Touch the bubbles with the paper. And then I'm gonna start again. Now, the first try, look, it's a little bit light here. It always is, but it'll get darker and darker the more bubbles that you blow. It's important to do this on a tray, a cookie sheet, I'm using a paper plate, anything that will catch any bubbles if you overflow your bubbles. Now those ones look even more bright. So I'm gonna pop my bubbles with my paper and looky there. Now don't go and press on all the bubbles and pop them. Just let it be. I'm even gonna, one more time with blue. Oh, wowzers. And now I'm gonna pop that. Now I'll show you another way that you can do it also. So you might find different ways. You could pick up your cup and hold it. Blow the bubbles like that. Set your paper on your tray or your plate and sort of push the bubbles onto the paper and let them pop on their own, or take your straw and sort of help them pop. But what you don't want to do is have this liquid spill onto the paper, because all it's going to do is make it more of a solid line. And instead, see how we have a lot of water in this time versus these beautiful bubble shapes. I like the bubble shapes. And I get the best bubble shapes when I just tap my paper onto. So you'll find the way that works best for you. So just have some fun doing that, creating bubble art, and then just set it someplace to dry. You can do it with several colors. Here's an example of one that I did with lots of different colors. So that's really cool. It has some blue and purple. So if you want to start and make another color, just set that aside, and then get your water, and then add in the soap, add in the paint, stir them together real good, or food coloring, whatever you want to use. Stir it together real good. And then blow your bubbles again. Sometimes it's fun to see how tall you can make them without them falling over. Whoa, those ones really went crazy. So now I can go around the edge. If you don't seem to get a lot of color, I didn't get a lot of color that time, you might need to add a little more water, or maybe even a little more paint. After a couple tries, if it doesn't seem bright enough, those would be the two tricks I would try. But again, you don't want too much water in there. Oh, these are pretty. Look at those beautiful bubbles. Oh, now I'm getting some good color. Oh, look at my plate. I'm going to have art on my plate too. So that's how you do bubble art. So have fun, artsy doodlers. Bye-bye. Hello, artsy doodlers. I am back with another science and art experiment. We are going to make sand slime. It is so fun, especially a fun summer activity. You could even bring home sand from the beach and use it. Wouldn't that be a great time? Well, here's how we're going to make our sand slime. So the first thing that we're going to do is add in our baking soda. And the baking soda would be in a small cup. It might have BS written on the side of it, but it's just the white powder. And we're going to add in our sand and go ahead and stir it up. Ooh, it's getting thick and gooey, huh? Okay, now we're going to add in the activator. The activator is clear, and I use contact lens solution as my #1 activator. I love this. But I gave you enough that you'll have a little bit extra in case your slime is really sticky. You may need to add a little bit more to it. So right now I just want you to use half of the container of the clear liquid. It might have a big A on your container. And save a little bit in case it's super sticky. And now we're just going to stir it up. I can see already it's starting to activate. Sometimes I have to stir for like 2 to 3 minutes, right? Sometimes even 4 minutes. It just depends. Slime comes together on its own, huh? Look at how it's starting to release from the sides of the cup. That's the ideal slime. See how I can like clean the side of my cup with? So I'm pretty much ready to play with it now. Look at how pretty. Some of you have blue sand in yours. It feels real fun too. It has a great texture. And I like to go ahead and start by just rolling my slime in my hand and then begin to stretch it. Oh, look at all that beautiful sand in there. Ooh, this is nice and stretchy slime. I love it. It shouldn't be ooey gooey on you. If it is sticking to you, take that extra activator and pour it in your hand and rub your hands together like this, and then begin to play with your slime again. And that should help it not be so sticky. Now, sometimes when we add too much activator, your slime will get stiff. And that's okay, we're experimenting. So if yours is a stiff kind, consider it more like putty, right? And this has great stretch. Look at that. Whoa. And have fun with your slime. I love sand slime. If ever you come up with your own slime recipe, send it my way. I always love learning new slime recipes. Thank you so much for artsy doodling. I'll see you again soon. Bye. Hello, artsy doodlers. We're gonna have some fun creating a bouncy ball together. Well, this is one of the projects that we have in our science and art kit, and I just love it. So here's the things that you're gonna need. A little cup full, about halfway full with water, and the bouncy ball mold that comes in your kit, and then bouncy ball powder that also comes in your kit. So to get started, the first thing we're going to notice is you want your mold to be pieced together, snapped together. So if it's apart like this, just line them up and snap it together. And do a quick check around the seams and make sure that it is snapped together. Then you're going to take some scissors and you're gonna cut open the corner of one of your bouncy ball powders, and we're just gonna start dumping it in to the mold. Now, notice how I'm holding the mold, not leaving it lay flat on the table because it'll fall over. My mold is circular, so like a ball. So I'm just gonna keep dumping it in, and I'm gonna tap it now, still holding it, but I'm tapping it to settle all that bouncy powder down so that I can fit more in. I think I'll go ahead and leave a little extra of my bouncy powder in the orange, and I'm gonna cut open. I have pink. Everybody's colors might be different. And now I'm gonna make my ball have two colors to it. So I'm pouring in the pink. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. And keep tapping it. You don't want the powder to come up through the funnel, but you want it to be rounded and like even at the bottom of the funnel. So as you keep tapping, if there's still more room, you can put a little bit more in, but not much. You don't want it to be heaping into this funnel. It should be flat with the bottom of that funnel. Now you're gonna take your cup of water and we're just gonna submerge it, and I'm gonna lift it by the top and submerge it down into the water. Let the water fill up the cavity at the top, the funnel at the top. See how there's water in the top there? And after a second or so, you should be able to just let it sit there flat. Now you have to let it rest for 2 minutes. And if you can, try to be real patient, but get your stopwatch out and let it rest for 2 minutes. I'm gonna pause while we let it rest. Okay, artists, I'm back, and it looks like my bouncy ball should be good to go. I'm gonna pull it out of the water and sort of just dump out any water that's left up. You'll start to see But it will get real, not quite as bouncy after a while. But enjoy it while it lasts. It's super fun to make, and you now have made your own bouncy ball. Yay! Happy Doodle Day, everyone! Okay, artists, I'm back, and it looks like my bouncy ball should be good to go. I'm gonna pull it out of the water and sort of just dump out any water that's left up. Now we're going to open up the ball mold and find that our ball has great shape. It will be a little sticky, but once we get it out of the mold and let it dry for a little bit, it won't be sticky anymore. So go ahead and remove the ball from the mold. You may have to work with it just a little bit, sort of pinch it and pry it out of there as best as you can, trying not to damage the ball. And there you have it. Look at how awesome that ball looks. It's a little bit sticky, but mine was the shape of a shell, so I've got some nice detail in my ball. Everyone might have different shapes in their kit, but it's super sticky. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is sort of roll it in your hands a little bit, just to try to get some of the stickiness to go away, because it is so hard to resist waiting for a while for it to dry out. You have to wait about an hour and a half before it's going to be completely dry. But it's hard to resist. As soon as you pull it out of the mold, you do want to bounce it. So if you roll it in your hand for a little bit, it'll become a little less sticky, and you can go ahead and try bouncing your ball. Give it a try. And there you have it. You made your very own bouncy ball. Good job, artsy doodlers. I hope you had fun with this project. Hi, artsy doodlers. We are doing another art and science experiment. And this time it's going to be a candy experiment. I think you're going to love it. It's hard to resist eating all that candy, but try to save them for your project, or maybe have one for yourself. But you're going to want to use 4 pixie sticks, some warm water, and some baking soda. And it's not a bad idea to have like a little spoon or a popsicle stick handy also. So I'm going to open up my pixie sticks, and we're going to play with them first to make a little art happen, and then we're going to do a test on them. So I think I'm going to put my blue pixie stick like the blue sky. Ooh, all up here. I'm lucky I have 2 of those. So I'll go ahead and add the second one up there too. Or maybe that's the ocean, huh? Ooh, I'm making an piece of art. And I'm going to use my red one next. Oh, that's pretty too. Almost looks peach, huh? And then I have some purple. So I think I'll go ahead and mix that purple in. Boy, purple is almost clear. It's like white. Not very purple. Purple's my favorite flavor though. I love purple gum, grape candy, anything like that. So it would be my favorite pixie stick, that's for sure. So now I'm gonna make some art. Did you ever do sand art before? And so I'm just gonna take my finger and I'm gonna draw a picture. Sand art. There I go. So you can, maybe I'll put some little polka dots all around, but you can just have fun making a little picture out of your sand, in your sand, and make some sand art. It'd be fun if we had lots more pixie sticks and we could fill up our whole plate. So now we're going to do, after you're done doodling in the sand, we're going to do a science experiment with it. So we're going to take our warm water. We need a little bit of warm water, and we are going to dissolve the pixie stick dust into the warm water. So I think what I'll have to do If I had a paper plate, I'd be able to bend it, but I'm going to try to get as much of that pixie stick dust. There we go. Ooh, that's a pretty blue color, huh? I'm even going to stir it a little bit and let that dissolve. How will you know when it's dissolved? Does anybody have any guesses? I think you'll start to see that this, because it's really sugar. Pixie sticks made of a lot of sugar. So we'll see that I can see all the way to the bottom. There's no sugar in there anymore. It's all melted in, which is fantastic. So now we're going to do a little test with the baking soda. What we want to find out is this acidic candy? So if I put a little bit of baking soda in, what happens? Ooh, it's bubbling. Did you see that? I'm going to try to put some more in. Wow, that really bubbled. So that means this pixie stick candy is acidic. If it doesn't bubble, then it's not acidic. So wouldn't it be fun the next time you have some various kinds of candy, if you could melt them down or dissolve them, just let them sit in some warm water until they dissolve, like a starburst. That would be a cool one to test. Let it dissolve in the water and then add some baking soda. And if it bubbles on you, and it's sort of like oozed, huh? If it bubbles on us, then we know that there's acid in there. Huh, pretty cool. All right, well, thank you so much. That was a fun, colorful experiment with some candy. Have a happy doodle day. Hello, artsy doodlers. We are going to do a science and art experiment and create some fizzy art. So you're going to make a masterpiece here. You can use a big sheet of paper. I just have a small sheet, so if you wanted to cut yours into small sheets, you could do that too. But you're going to want to put down a tray. I'm going to use this little plastic plate. You need some food coloring, some baking soda, some vinegar. I'm going to use these 3 little cups to make 3 different colors from the food coloring, and then this little pipette too. We're going to use that as well. So let's get started. So first, what we're going to do is take our vinegar and we're going to put it in these little cups, just a little bit. You won't need a lot. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a few drops of food coloring, just so that I can have colored vinegar in each one of these cups of vinegar. So I have green, yellow, and red. If you don't have food coloring, you could use a little paint and just make a watered down version of paint. Now what we're going to do is take our baking soda, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on here in random patterns. It doesn't have to be any particular place. You don't have to cover it all. You could let some of the paper show. I like to use watercolor paper for this. I think it makes the prettiest art. All right, so I just have some baking soda sprinkled on. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my pipette, and I'm going to pick up, like you squeeze the end. So I'm going to squeeze the end and get some of that colored vinegar in. And now I'm going to pick a spot and I'm just going to drip. What is happening? Look at how cool. Can you hear it fizzing? I love it. And so I'll do a little bit more. You don't have to do a whole lot to get the action to happen. Make a little masterpiece, huh? Whoa! That is really cool. Now I'm going to do a little bit with some yellow also. So you can do different colors. Where they mix, it'll make some orange. Ooh, there you go, artists. Huh? Fizzy art. Oh, it's so fun. This is crazy. And the more vinegar we seem to put down, the more eruption happens, huh? Whoa. It's even happening on the plate. Wherever there's baking soda and vinegar react to each other. And that's how the eruptions happen. Now I'm going to add in some green. Whoa. Can you hear it fizzing? I don't know if you can hear it like I can. Now you can always add more. I ended up using most of mine, but if you have a little bit more baking soda left, you can always, if you have a spot that maybe you didn't hit with some baking soda and you want some fizzy art there. Now artists, here is a tip. If you just let this sit, and you have to have lots of patience, right? Don't pick it up and tilt it, because all of that vinegar is going to run. And we know when colors all mix together, what happens? It makes brown, huh? So we would lose a lot of the colors that we see. I feel like I need a little more red while I'm talking. So what we want to do is just let this sit overnight and dry right on our sheet. And then tomorrow, it'll be sort of crusty, like the baking soda is all that's left over, right? And what you can do is scrape that baking soda off, and the color will be left on your piece of paper, and you'll have your own masterpiece that you can keep. You could even put it in a frame, huh? That would be fun. I hope you enjoyed fizzy art. I can't wait to do another science and art experiment with you. Have a happy doodle day. Hello, artsy doodlers. I am super excited to show you a little polymer experiment. So right here in this little container is some white, it's sort of dusty looking material. It'll remind you of like salt or even baking soda, but it's not. When you get a close-up look at it, it's polymer. Do you see all those little crystals? Well, those are magical. And what's going to happen is you are going to be able to take some colored water, and it doesn't matter what color, but you can take some colored water, and I just put a little food coloring in my water, and I'm going to get out my pipette if you have a pipette around, or you could use a spoon to scoop the water in, but we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of water in my pipette, and I'm just going to pour it in and watch what happens. You'll start to see something pretty special forming. It will remind you of winter. Do you look down in there? Do you see all this stuff forming here? This is snow. We call it instant snow. Isn't it fun? But believe it or not, that's the same material that is inside a baby's diaper. Because what happens is each of those little crystals absorbs the water and it grows. And see, and that's how it forms this snow, what I like to call instant snow. I think it's marketed as instant snow, but it's polymers. Isn't it cool? So each one of those absorb the water and expand and grow. And yours will probably fill up your whole cup, I bet, huh? And you can play in it, and you can do, just create with it anything you would like. If you do a bunch of different colors, like portion it out, have one to be blue, one to be pink, one to be yellow, and you can make rainbow snow. Wouldn't that be fun? So enjoy it. Have a good time with your experiments. And I hope you like making instant snow from polymer, just like I do. Have a great day. Happy Doodle Day.